Hello everybody, this is Greg29407 back with another edition of Shroud of the Avatar. Well, today we are playing Kill Dozer again, and we are in Upper Fortis, which is one of the adventure scenes near our town of Lake Casabo. It is late night, so it's early morning, and as you can see, it looks like Kill Dozer is not a morning person. He does not look happy to be here this early in the morning. I don't blame him. It seems a little early. The sun's just now coming up. Um, I want to do a chapter today on the classless system that we have in the game, and what happens when you want to change classes in a classless system, which sounds kind of silly, but let me go over that. Um, Kill Dozer, of course, as you remember, we created him because I wanted him to be like a in-game version of Thor. So we gave him bludgeon powers. We gave him, since Thor is the god of thunder, we gave him the air powers. We gave him earth powers. Here's the adventuring system here. The bludgeon powers, we have all these bludgeon attacks like break armor and break weapon and ground pound, which is my personal favorite. And we've been working on that. And then for magic, that's for combat. For magic, we wanted him to have the earth power. So he has earthquake and stone arrow and stone fist. And then for air, we have all of these, which have been really good. Discharge, which is a close-up power, AoE power. We have lightning. We have chain lightning. We have our air elemental as well. So I've been playing him as primarily a magic character. What I found is recently, especially in this map, which this is a three-skull area, so I've been playing this more often. I've been playing this character less and less. And the reason for that is I found that I'm taking a little bit too much damage because I am playing him incorrectly. I'm playing him almost as a melee character. I'm running up into the faces of my enemies and swinging my bludgeon for the most part and using magic powers secondarily, which is wrong for this particular type of character. As a mage character, I should be standing away from the enemies and casting my magic and fighting that way. But for this character, I tend to be playing up close and personal. So maybe I need to make a change. Maybe for this particular character, I need to do something a little different. The beauty of this game is, again, with its classless system, I can play however I want. I can choose whatever powers I want, anything I want to do. So if I'm doing air and earth, but I decide, that's not working for me. I want to do, say, fire. I could start, I've already got these two things. I can start getting some of these fire powers and make him a fire character and put these on my combat bar and start training them up. And I don't have to do anything with these two sections. I don't have to lose points here. You continue to gain XP as you play the game, as you use the powers, and you can boost these powers up as they go higher and higher, which is really nice about the classless system. So what the game is trying to encourage you to do is have a single character and that you can do anything you want to with. So if you decide earth, air is not your thing and you want to do death, fire, some of the death powers, you can do that. You don't have to lose any of these points. You just get new points on these. So you could technically end up maximizing all the points in all the schools of magic and combat. Does that make sense in a real life perspective? No, not really. I mean, we're not all Mary Sue characters where we're good at everything. But that's the way the game is going. There's some advantages of that because there's no max. It's not like, oh my goodness, I only have, 45 powers I can choose from. Which 45 are they going to be? In this game, you can choose whatever powers you want. You can switch them out and you don't lose anything. Most games are class sets of powers, class games. I never talk about computer games without eventually mentioning City of Heroes. As you guys know, I love City of Heroes. It's my all-time favorite game. That was a class game, though. When you first created your character, they say, what power sets do you want? And if you choose Earthstorm Controller, which is the best, by the way, then you're an Earthstorm Controller. That character is an Earthstorm Controller. You're not going to be radiation anything else. You're not going to be trick archery or trick arrow archery. You just can't do it. If you want to do that instead, then you create a new character. City of Heroes had, I think, 11 servers, and he had 12 slots per server, so that you could do 132 different characters in that game. This game we have one. Now you can have a separate account. I have 2 extra accounts in this game, so I can play different characters, but they prefer you to play a character because your character is supposed to be you in this game. It's supposed to be you. You've come from Earth, and now this is your avatar that you live here. So, different type of game. But the advantage of this thing is that we can make changes. So, I've been thinking about, maybe magic isn't right for this particular character. And again, my perspective is I play these characters as actual characters. I come up with like little backstories for them, and they have types of personalities. And sometimes you have a character that the powers are fine, but you don't really like the character you've created. I don't know. This seems weird to some people. Sometimes in the past I've created characters that were kind of jerks. And it's like, something, I don't want to spend my free time playing with a jerk. So I've been known to delete characters just because I didn't like their personalities. It makes sense to me, and that's the way I play. Other players, they'll just create a character, they'll just choose whatever random powers they want, and it works completely fine with them. That's great. So other players role play, which I've never gotten into, where they play as their characters. They pretend to be these characters. I've never really done that. I always play my characters. I play with my characters, not play as my characters. So now this character's fine. I like Kill Dozer, but I don't think I'm playing the characters the way I should be, if that makes any sense. Kill Dozer was originally was based on the famous motion picture Kill Dozer, about a bulldozer that gets possessed by a demon and goes on a murderous rampage. Huge hit. Well, it was a TV movie, and it was big at my elementary school back in 1974. But I always liked the name. My first character in City of Heroes was named Kill Dozer. He was a stone tanker. So he was like this immovable force. And the other problem I've had with this character here is this guy's a magician. He's supposed to run around and hide from enemies. He's not really a Kill Dozer. So I started thinking, maybe I should make him a tank. Really live up to the name of Kill Dozer. Really making kind of a tough, just get in your face and fight. It seems to be what I'm trying to do with him anyway. I don't know. Let me next go over armor in this game so I can kind of explain where I'm coming from on this. We have 4 different types of armor in this game. We have 2 light armors and 2 heavy armors. The basic armor that we have, the most light armor, is called cloth armor. And cloth armor is basically what you're probably wearing right now as you listen to this video, is a t-shirt and jeans. Obviously, cloth armor is not very powerful if you're up against a guy that's wielding an axe. I mean, it may staunch the flow of blood after you have this gaping chest wound from the axe, but that's pretty much it. So if you wear cloth armor, you're going to try and stay out of toe-to-toe battle with any enemy, right? It makes perfect sense. You're going to try and stand back, which is why it's perfect for mages. Anyone using these magic powers, cloth armor is really, really useful to have. Why would you use cloth armor? Well, there's something called fizzle in this game. And fizzle is if you use a magic power. So, for instance, if I'm going to use discharge, or if I'm going to use lightning, cast lightning on an enemy, or cast chain lightning on an enemy, or any of the powers in this magic circle, there's a chance of fizzle. And basically what happens is you cast the power and it goes tsk, and it actually makes that sound in game. Tsk. It doesn't work. It just fizzles. You cast it and nothing happens. Well, if some bear, like one of these grizzly bears is over here, is running right at you at 20 miles an hour and you keep getting fizzles, you're going to start to panic because that bear has got claws and teeth and you've got a t-shirt on. So you don't want fizzle. The good thing about cloth armor is there's no fizzle, or virtually no fizzle anyway. So you can cast your powers, your magic powers, you don't have to worry about fizzle going off. So that's very useful for mages. The other advantage in this game is that cloth armor is the only type of armor that you can use dyes on to change colors. So cloth armor gives you a lot more leeway in terms of having your character looking the way you want. Hopefully at some point they'll institute paints for the other types of armors. But anyway, right now, cloth armor is the way to go if you want like outlandish costumes and stuff. The next level of armor is leather armor, and that's basically what Kill Dozer has right now. He's got cloth for this stuff, but he also has his chest armor is leather, epic leather chest quarter armor +1, and the chest armor is what you go with for what type of armor you're wearing per se. Chest armor has a slightly higher fizzle chance, higher than 0. It's not super high. You can use it's still light armor, but there is a chance that your powers are going to fizzle. So, for instance, when I put my cursor over this chest armor, you see the bottom line there is bright red. It says +8% magic fizzle chance. Okay, so there's a chance, 8% chance that my magic is going to fizzle using this. Now, my other powers, like my other armor, my leggings, which is cloth, there's no fizzle chance. Gloves, cloth, no fizzle chance. Boots, cloth, no fizzle chance. So there is a chance, it's not very high though, of fizzle, but it can happen. So if I load up my powers here, okay, so right here, 93%, see the little number right there on chain lightning, 93% where my cursor is? That means that there's a 93% chance that if I cast chain lightning, it will work. There's a 7% chance that power will not work because of fizzle. Now these other ones don't have any numbers down here, so there's no fizzle chance on these powers. Those arrows and fist powers are less likely. As you go deeper into the trees, I think the fizzle chance goes up. I think that's the way it works. So there's a slight fizzle chance on that particular power because specifically because I'm wearing this leather armor. If I look at my buffs, oh, by the way, I have a buff bar now. It's an alternate power bar, and I have all my long-term buffs and stuff on it. I forgot to talk about that. I just have to hit the X button, and it switches bars, so I can click on these things and go. Anyway, I should have done that in a chapter. Oh, well. I don't have any kind of fizzle on any one of these things because, well, now there is a fizzle on my air elemental. It says 77%, so notice it says fizzle chance 23.3% for summon elemental. As at the bottom of the tree, I think that's why that is. I think there may even be a fizzle chance with just cloth armor. Let's see. I'm going to take off his shirt here. Oh. Let's take off his shirt. Nope. Even with nothing on, it's still an 88% chance of fizzle. So as you go down the bar, there is a possibility for some fizzle. But again, you're going to cast that power probably when you're not in battle anyway. Oops. Can't put his clothes on when he's in battle. All right. There we go. So those are the two types of light armor. Now, heavy armor is made up of chainmail and plate mail. Now, chainmail is something that I use for Tiffany all the time because she is a melee character. Tiffany uses pole arms. She also uses, like in the sun thing, she uses this searing ray. And in earth, she uses stone fist and stone arrow. She mainly uses those two range powers. She needs range powers. There's a fizzle chance, but it's not terrible. I can't remember what it is, but it's higher than leather. So I think it's like 15% fizzle chance for the chest. And then when you have, like chainmail pants and chainmail gloves, then each one of those has a fizzle chance as well. Also, right now, he just has leather chest. If he had leather pants and everything else, the fizzle chance would go up. So every piece of equipment of leather would have a fizzle chance. It would add to your overall fizzle. So chainmail is higher. So I don't really use a lot of heavy-duty magic on Tiffany. Again, just a couple of range powers. And sometimes they don't work. So I got 2 slots for them. So that didn't work. Let me try the other one. But it's not horrible. And then you have plate mail. And plate mail, high fizzle chance, which we're going to look at in a few minutes. High fizzle chance. In fact, a lot of these powers are 100% fizzle. They just won't work. It doesn't matter. They will never work for you. So obviously, mages do not want to have plate mail armor on. It would be a terrible combination. It just won't work. The advantage of having those heavy armors, though, is if you're playing a melee character, a character's getting in your face to fight, you need higher protections, right? So let me show you a couple of things on this little paper doll category, we show resistance and we show avoidance. And these two numbers are very important. There's also a dodge number, which is not on here for some reason. Resist and avoid. Now, avoid is the % chance if someone hits you, they miss completely. Now, right now, just sitting here resting, he's at 1%. What if his power again? So he's at 1%. 99% of the time, they're going to hit you. Resist is when someone hits you, what % of the damage will not count against you? In this case, 6.6%. So they're going to hit me, but only 93.4% of the damage that they normally would do is going to go against you. So obviously, in any character, you want to raise these two numbers up, right? Now, if he was purely cloth armor, this number would be down. Let me take it off. Let me take his shirt off again. Dadgummit. I should have thought ahead. Okay, look at that. The resist number on the paper doll is now 3.9%. Get back on. 6.6%. Now, these numbers can be boosted. Let me show you. One of my powers here is from Tactics. It's Defensive Stance. And Defensive Stance increases damage resistance at the expense of attack speed. So when I click on this, my resistance went up to 11.9. Dodge increases my dodge rate, which does not show up on here. Escape decreases aggro and player. I didn't update this. I'm waiting for these come from my light armor. I'm waiting to see evasion. Evasion increases avoidance. So 6% avoidance for 23 seconds. Here we go. Now watch what happens to the avoid number. It went up to 7. So with that and this, I now have 11.9 resist and 7% avoid on this particular character using these powers. Again, this is available for anyone using light armor. We have dodge, which increases the dodge rate, 9% plus 9, and as you level it up, of course, it goes higher. Evasion increases your avoidance. Escape decreases aggro. And you have some other things here. This increases attack speed and movement speed. But for resist and avoid, these are two really good ones. If you look on Tactics, we have Defensive Stance, which I like a lot, which we've just clicked on. A lot of plus 11.2% maximum damage resistance. That helps out a lot. We have these other things. This one down here, which I don't have in this particular build, increases your avoidance by 7.1. You got to go through a lot. So I could actually add that on here. Maybe I should. That's not a bad idea. That's a pretty good number. So there are a lot of things you can do to boost these numbers up. But again, for this particular character, the way I have him set up now, as a mage, we don't need a lot. We need some, of course. We don't want to be naked on here. But since he should be standing in the background, he should be getting less damage than someone who's up close and personal with the enemies, right? So these numbers are important, but they're not as incredibly important. So let's see. So with our buttons here, we end up with 11.9 and 7. So let's say 12 and 7 with these buttons. We'll just keep that in mind for future reference. 12 and 9. 12 and 7, sorry. 12 and 7. So this is what we've got. So I started to think, with a name like Kill Dozer, what if I made him a tank? Just like he was in City of Heroes. What if I make him just some super tough guy, plate armor, and really make him as tough as possible, so he can just stand in place and just take as much damage as possible. And it may be more natural for my play style for this character. I don't know. So that's what I did. What I went ahead and did was I went ahead and bought some armor, and I went ahead and got the black clockwork armor set, which it's on the add-on store, and it cost me $20, but I only bought it for, see what at the bottom it says, salvage yields, eternal pattern. See at the bottom of that box there? This armor comes with is these eternal patterns, which means I can buy any cheapo piece of armor, because this stuff isn't really tough, and I can apply this pattern onto it so it will always look like what we're going to look at in a minute here. And it's very useful. So let me show you. Let me open up this. This is my earth backpack. This is my heavy armor backpack. So I'm going to change his clothes. Let me get out of combat. I'm going to put all of his existing armor and weapons into this backpack. I should have done this at night when no one was looking. And now I'm going to put this armor that I bought. And again, the stats on this armor is definitely not I win, because it's really weak. It's really basic armor stuff. But I bought it because of the look of it. All right. So this is Kill Dozer 2.0. That's a tough looking dude. This is heavy plate armor. Now, I haven't hit any buttons yet. So look at my resist numbers. Before I had 12 and 7, right now with nothing running. That was with my my buffs running. Without any buffs running, I have 25 and 19. 25 and 19. We're going to hit some buff buttons in a few minutes, and we're going to see these numbers shoot up through the roof. Okay, so this guy's a lot tougher. Now, let's go ahead and put him into combat mode and see what we got. Okay. Chain Lightning. I have 100% fizzle chance. I can't use it. Searing Ray. I have a 39.4% fizzle chance. Not really useful. Stone Arrow. 39.4% fizzle chance. Earthquake. 31% fizzle chance. I just can't do it. I can't use it. Look at this. My Shield of Crystal, 34%. It's just not going to work out well. So what I've also done is I've created a heavy armor deck, because I'm not going to use these magic powers. I'm going to use heavy armor stuff. Oh, I got to get out of combat. I'm going to equip this. And now, let's go into combat. I have a different combat deck. So now, I am using only my bludgeon powers, and I've switched out the hammer for an axe just because I think it looks kind of cooler. And what I've also done is I've added a shield. So I want maximum protection. So I have so the first 3 slots are all for fighting. I kept my stone fist. My fizzle chance is 2%, so that's workable. And I've got my same bludgeon powers I had before. I have added engage opponents so I can run up to somebody, because I don't have any range powers right now at all. I had the shield attack, increases shield block for a short time. I still have defensive stance. I have glancing blow as a heavy armor. So whereas before we were looking at this light armor, now we're over here on heavy armor. So I have this glancing blow, which is a power I can use. And also I have some innate skills, which I'm still in the process of leveling up. I also took this fortified defenses that I show you down here, which I may actually put on the other build too. This is really good. I also took Douse for some fire protection. So let's hit these same buttons and see what happens. We're at 25 and 19. So I'm going to click on my defensive stance like I did before, and glancing blow, and fortified defense. 44.7 and 40. Again, before we had 12 and 7. 44.7 and 40. That's how big of a difference we make with this heavy armor stuff. Now, we've given up all of our range damage. We've given up all of our magic damage. But we've taken on a lot more toe-to-toe fighting. Okay? So, And in order for me to do this, I did add, in order to get this power is tough to get, but because you have to go through this thing and this thing and this thing in order you can get it. But basically it took me like an hour or an hour and a half to sit in Desolus and just like click these buttons every 30 seconds to level them up. It took up a lot of my pool, but anyway, it wasn't hard to get. You can just do it, not even in battle. I started adding powers and shields. I got this, and I'm getting the innates now. This increases damage resistance when the shield is equipped. So every time this goes up, this number is going to go up. This gives greater chance of turning a hit into a glancing blow. That's good to have. This is shield durability, which I need. This increases stun resistance. There's some other powers right here I'm probably not going to get, although I might. Increases the chance to resist stuns again. Increases the avoidance for friendly targets. I'm not sure if that includes me or just my allies. That'd be good to get if, because look at plus 5.1% damage avoidance. Again, we're trying to maximize avoid and resist on a character like this. Those are huge numbers for this kind of character. Shield bash. It's like Captain America, I think. Quick shield attack with a stun. That may be kind of fun to take. Charge. Attack with knockback and a stun chance. That may be good to have. So especially since it's oh yeah, that would be good because let's see, how far does he run? Range 10. That'd be really good. All right, I may have to get that because right now I'm using engage opponent, which is very useful. He runs towards your enemy really fast, but he doesn't do any damage. If I can get this instead, it'd do some damage. Okay, that's good to see. I'm still learning this as we go. This is part of the fun of the game. Of course, I've added these powers, and still in the process, I still need to add this, which increases strength. This, which is stun resistance. This is a body slam. Same thing I was talking about just a minute ago, but this also has minus armor, 100% armor durability effectiveness. So I don't want to do that. Absorbs impacts better. So all defensive stuff. So right now we're really concerned with defenses. Trying to be as tough a tank as possible. There's also a taunt in here, which I may take. So no range attacks at this point. I could possibly, see, I like this power here, but my fizzle chance is now 40%. And my stone arrow, again, 40% fizzle chance. That's not good. I have taken Douse in the water field, because it does give me fire protection, fire resistance. So you notice that right now I have it at 40. There's a 40% chance of failure, but I just keep hitting the button because it gives me 10% fire resistance, and I really need that. I've also added the fire resistance from the fire tree. This took some time. Again, I did this on a practice dummy, so it wasn't hard. It just was time consuming. And what I've done here is I now have this one right here, fireproof, fire resistance. So between this and Douse, I still get hit with flames and I'm on fire, but it's less damage to me. What I've noticed with this build is that this armor takes a beating pretty quick. Like this was an 80, now it's at 74. I've only played this a few sessions already, and he's already taken a beating. So I'm glad I have these eternal patterns. I'm going to buy armor for this guy, replacement armor, a lot, apparently. So that's just the way it goes. So anyway, let's take a look and see how this goes. So again, I can't run. I'm going to use this thing and run over. Oh, look at that. Look, he ran away. Come back here. Okay, I'm going to start hitting my buttons. Hit my numbers up. The bear's always trying to chase me away. What I found on this character is to do slow and steady at this point. You want to keep your focus up. There's a tendency to hit as many buttons as possible. Do that. Now I just killed that grizzly bear. Look at my health bar. It's barely moved. It is barely moved. Because I've been hitting these 4 buttons right here. That's shield attack, defensive stance, glancing blow, and fortified defenses. I'm just hitting those. Let's do another bear. Those 4 buttons. And now let's start fighting. Now this character is by no means high level. As you can see, he's still kind of he's about level 45 adventure level. Most of his powers are about at 41. So he's still kind of baby level. It's high for me, but he's at the point where he's not like a brand new character anymore, but he's not a high level. So he's at the point now where as a player, you start to decide where you want to take him as a character, how you want to focus on him, how you wanted to specialize in him. And that's why I kind of made this change at this point. I want to try and focus on making him a heavy-duty, tough guy. Again, his health bar barely moved at all. So that's the advantage here for this particular type of play. Now, I have a character named Dodge Raider who I don't think I've featured him on any of the episodes here. He is a death, mage, and bow and arrow character. He uses all cloth armor. Now, he has finally become really effective, and I do try and keep him at range as much as possible. But again, I still find myself fighting people from 2 feet away with a bow and arrow. It's like, why do I do this? Why do I do this? I need to stay at range. My basic personality is to get right in their face, I think. I can kind of adapt that a little bit, but if 2 of my 3 characters are now in-your-face characters, that's probably the way I, as a player, need to play. Other people may not need to do that, but that just works for me. So I hope that helps out, kind of going over the different armor types and the different classes. And again, there's no class, but if you want to switch and change out your character, you can. So again, we are now focusing on shield, heavy armor, bludgeon as always, and then really pushing the defense stuff. And again, these 3 things, look at those numbers. We are so much higher than we were with Kill Dozer in the first part of this episode because he's now a different character, a different type player. His armor is going to get worn out really fast. That's why I'm not going to invest much money in his plate armor at all. I'm just going to buy the cheapo stuff for 160 gold pieces each or whatever it is. Put these patterns on top of it so it always looks kind of cool. He's black and yellow, black and gold. That's kind of neat. It looks like a bulldozer. And I got Lord British's cape because I wanted a red cape to go with it. Splash of color. It looks kind of neat. This helmet has a radio in it too. There's a radio in this thing. You can make it work. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all that. But yeah, you can hear the New Britannian radio stations as you're playing the game, which is kind of cool. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I'm going to keep working on playing this. Am I going to stick with this completely, or am I going to go back to the Earth area before? I may just go back and forth. I can do that. I can just have to switch out. I'll have to switch out his armor, like I did before, and switch out his combat bar. And I've got both of them. I don't have to recreate them. I've just got them both saved. I can just switch them out and change style of play. I like that. I like the fact that I can kind of do that with one character. So it's kind of an advantage. I hope this helps out. I hope this was kind of interesting to you. It gives you some information about how you can play your characters, or if you get tired of a character, you can kind of overhaul them a little bit. Or if you find a battle you just can't handle the way you're doing it, maybe here's how you can try something different. Hope this helps. Anyway, until next time, this is Greg 29407 along with Kill Dozer saying arrivederci, and we'll see you next time.